Hi YouTube, what is going on? Shaquan here from SLFX Trading, and in today's video I am going to be talking about a losing trade and two winning trades and a next potential setup on one of the pairs I'm going to be going over. So let's start with the losing position first. Okay, we're going to start with pound JPY. All right, now, as you guys know, I am strictly a swing trader, which means I look at higher time frames. However, I have been playing around with scalping and day trading a little bit more since I have a little bit more time on my hands now in the mornings and in the afternoons and a little bit in the evenings. Now, I'm not trying to sit at my chart all day, obviously, so I still make sure that I come to my charts at specific times and not still spend too much time unless I'm with a student or something. So, what I did yesterday was I woke up around like 4 o'clock in the morning. Well, actually 3 o'clock. Couldn't sleep, so I prayed, went to the gym, and came back and set up my charts. And I noticed that GJ on the 4 hour had a potential selling opportunity. Now I got 4 screens up: monthly, weekly, daily, 4 hour. I want you guys to focus on the right hand sides, okay? So I noticed that yesterday price had made it had a doji confirmation candle set up from Friday, and I was hoping that we could continue a push down back into the lows here. And so what I ended up doing yesterday morning, which was the 18th, I got into a nice sell, and price almost made it down to that previous low, but then it just shot back up. So that is a losing setup. I only risked 1% of my account. So that's 1% that can always be made back, which I made that back in another position from yesterday. Okay, so with that being said, that was a losing setup, and I'm starting with the losing setup because this losing setup can turn into a winning setup. So as you guys can see, price just made a new higher high. Now, because price has made a new higher high, it shows me, Shaquan, don't look for the sales anymore. Now switch your bias and begin to look for a buy. So what I'm hoping for, because pound JPY just pushed up, we have some bullish pound sentiment right now. What I'm hoping for is that later on today or tonight or tomorrow, which will be Wednesday, that price pulls back for me so I can get into a position above the new higher low of my 4 hour at 156.60. Okay, and if that's the case, I can make my 1% back and more. So my philosophy when I lose a trade is, Shaquan, you can always make the money back. You didn't blow an account on this position. You didn't risk more than 1% of your account, so you have another day to reset. You got time to reset. You have time to maneuver. And as long as I understand that, it makes the loss a little bit less hurtful and harmful. All right. And that's the thing with trading. The goal is not to blow an account. The goal literally is to make money and lose minimal. Okay. That way you can always come back to trade. So that's pound JPY, a loss and then a potential setup. The next setup that I'm going to talk about is actually one that my student gave out. So I've been in a sale with some of my students from the top around here back in early October. So we've been riding the sales down. Now, when you scale into this time frame, so we're going to go from the daily to the 4 hour. When you scale in and see what's really going on, you'll see that as price is decreasing, it's actually causing fluctuations on the 4 hour time frame. These fluctuations are opportunities for us to enter into a trade. So what I saw was that, or what he saw yesterday was that price came back into what I call our estimation zone. This is what I teach. Price came back into our estimation zone. We estimate price can pull back so we can enter a trade. And he put into our group chat, he said, well, Shaquan, price looks like it's going to close as a rejection candle. What do you think? I said, Mr. Anthony, if it does at 9 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time, take the trade. It did, executed the position, and price hit first targets back at the previous low. So as he said, as he entered the trade, I'm setting up for the next trade, right? So what I'm seeing now is that because price is continuing its flow, we have a new lower low. What this shows you is that for the United States dollar and ZAR, there is a trend going down. So people who live in South African Rand, they're able to buy $1 at a cheaper price than what they were able to buy yesterday. We're just selling that information. But if price can give us a pullback back into the first estimation zone here, then I would love to take another sale back to the downside as long as price stays below 14.80s. And once we get evidence of that, and she proves that she can do it, then we're gonna just, keep selling. The price can just continue down, which means we won't have another trade opportunity on her for right now. But remember, we're still holding a long-term position from earlier in October based on the daily time frame. And now based on a 4-hour, we see that price is trending. So right now, the goal is not to try to get us hit up every day on USDZAR because we already have a trade running. The goal now is just to scale in and trade her continuation as she's continuing down until it tells us to stop. Okay. The next trade setup that was really nice yesterday, and it just hit targets this morning, is USD Mexican peso. So something that I've done recently was scale down in pairs. Normally I look at like 30 pairs. I scaled down to 2 currency pairs. But as I was watching this, I said, you know what? This is a really great setup. Because I was watching this for like potential setups for my students. Like, this is a really good setup. I'm gonna go ahead and take it. And I said, well, let's just see what it does. So I noticed yesterday that price was pushing up, and this was around like 8:30 p.m. when I noticed this, and I noticed they had made a new low at 20.37s, but it had passed the lower low at 20.316. So I said, okay, the sellers have control of this potential currency pair. Let's, see if we can get a position in there. And I noticed that it came back into my zone. So this was at the point where I dropped down to the 30-minute time frame. Now, mind you guys, like I said, I am a swing trader, but I'm expanding my technique back down to a lower time frame because in the beginning of my trading career, I actually used to be a scalper and day trader. And so I'm just expanding since I have time now. And so at 9 o'clock p.m., I'm sorry, what was it? It wasn't 8:30, it was 7:30 I saw it. So at 8 o'clock p.m., what I did was I took a sell on this candle on a 30-minute time frame, which was right here. Price closed bearish, and that's all I was looking for, was like a bearish candle in my favor. And I sold back down to the previous low here, and as you guys see, she just hit target. So that's money banked right there. So even though I lost the trade yesterday on pound JPY, this trade made up for that 1% loss that I had on that trade on this particular account. And one of my students called a really nice setup, and now we have a potential setup on pound JPY and USDZAR, and even probably here again on USD peso, because price just made another new low, which means the sellers still have control. And this is something that we have to be on the lookout for. This is literally what trend trading looks like. When you continue to trade with the trend and you don't trade opposite of it, because that's why I lost pound JPY, because I traded opposite of the trend. So I understand that, which is why I only risked 1%, because I understood it was a counter trend trade. Now, I'm always a little bit careful with counter trend trades, and I always tell my students I love to trend trade. But like I said, when you're spinning your technique, you're going to try both directions from time to time, which is okay, and it's fine, as long as you don't blow the account. Remember that, okay? So these are the 3 pairs that I wanted to update you guys here on YouTube about. And we're looking for some more setups for my students this week. I already gave them out the watch list for this week to look at for a lot more 4-hour setups on other currency pairs. I pray that you guys have a really, really safe trading week. I pray that it is profitable and prosperous for you. And if y'all have any questions, make sure y'all put them below. Comment down below. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't to. And I'll talk to you guys in the next video.